Christ consciousness is ancient, it's super ancient. And it's a certain level of consciousness that you can get to this level where they're all knowing, all loving, they're the epitome of service to others and unconditional love for one another. You know, a real true ascended being. And Jesus never said he was going to return. He said that Christ would return, and raising everyone up to a high level and bringing back a new golden age, creating a true super Christ civilization. When you look at the smallest scale of things, it gives you almost an identical mirror as to what's going on the largest scale. So I began to realize that God is us and we are God, and that God is on a data collection mission. The whole premise of this third dimensional realm and human beings operating in this realm and potential other alien beings and everything else throughout the entire universe are all doing one thing, very simple: collecting information and sending it back to the source. So the universe is a mind. God is part of this universal mind, this universal consciousness, and there's only one consciousness. All of these living things that exist throughout the entire third dimension are all doing one thing. They are transmitting back to source all the information of what it's like to be a blade of grass, what it's like to be Billy Carson, what it's like to be Danica Patrick. And so the universal consciousness is actually taking this information and it's actually collecting this data to analyze what is it like to operate through this grand experiment of this third dimension. It's a learning process, and we're all a part of that. And so it's all about understanding that we are God and God is us. It's in everything and we're in everything. Separation is an illusion. Division is an illusion. Everything is actually all one. God is a frequency. It's our job to tune in. Well, the human body is an avatar, just like the movie Avatar. It's a receptor. It receives and holds the spirit temporally. And so the avatar body is set up in a way where it's a biological robot and machine imbued with sophisticated technologies and advanced capabilities that we are right now not fully tapped into. Some people have better gifts and energy than others. We have a couple things that hold your spirit in your body, that lock that frequency in. One is the neural correlates of consciousness. Those are 3 giant neurons that wrap around the inside of the skull. And when you look at them on a scan, it looks like a crown of thorns. It's Christ consciousness. It has nothing to do with him putting on a real crown of thorns. It's the one that's inside of every single human being's head right now. But that works in collaboration with the magnetite crystal and your colostrum and your neocortex. Those things all work together to combine to allow a frequency to be encapsulated and be hosted inside the physical avatar body. You become the ghost in the shell, and you animate this shell via that spirit that's being housed, and it's only being locked in because of those 4 things I just mentioned. It's crazy how much power we have inside of us. Words have power. Words can literally affect and change the ether of space-time itself. The closer you get to the language of light, which is what the ancient Kemetic people and Egyptians would speak back in ancient times, those words had supreme power over reality itself. Just speaking certain ways and saying certain things can control different outcomes, because we know cymatic frequencies, which are created by our vocal cords, they emanate out of you. We think they're just words, but they're actually codes that the universe picks up, programming codes, and then the universe then enacts those codes. That's how a lot of things happen. It's a way of, creating different realities, and it's the power of the voice and the power of speaking. The brain is just like a microchip. It's a microprocessor. It's a central processing unit. It allows you to be able to connect to multiple dimensions. Scientists at the Brain Institute discovered that the brain now connects to 11 dimensions. And we have the capability of tapping into higher knowledge in higher dimensions. And then it finally comes out, they discovered it's actually real, and that the brain is a multidimensional functional computer. It's a processor. Quantum entanglement first came to me when I was just doing a walking meditation. It came to me as parabolic down conversion. To take 2 particles and phase shift them on the same frequency so that you can quantum entangle the particles. Then you can take one particle and shift it to the other end of the universe if you can get there. And when you change the particle local to you, the other one will change instantaneously. In other words, if one is in a spin rate up, the other one will go spin rate down. When you twist this one and put it down, this one will go up, and vice versa. So you can create this up-down communication between 2 entangled particles. It goes even further than that. Scientists now discovered that you can quantum entangle through conscious thought. And they've actually entangled people's thoughts together now. They took one person and put him in front of a video game screen, put another person that was, I think, in 2 laboratories away, was looking at the screen, But the one that was blindfolded had the remote control. The one that was looking was controlling the hand of the one that was blindfolded. So we know that when we get an epiphany like that, there's very rarely original thought. A lot of the times we get in sync with a thought that already exists, because we know that all thoughts are light waves. So every single thought you're thinking right now, and I'm thinking right now, it generates waves that leave our skull and go out into the ether permanently, forever. Everyone's conscious thoughts are all around us, floating around in this ether we call the grid. And so you can get in sync with something and you can download it. And if you can discern that download, you can have an epiphany moment. Quantum entanglement is so incredible, because if you really understand where we're going to go in the future with communications, it's going to be quantum entangled communications. If you have a quantum entangled communications device on Earth and you take one with you in the ship, or you have a communications array that's been launched years ahead into deep space, you can instantaneously send a response and get a response back. All thoughts and ideas and concepts most likely are downloaded from the field. You know, just like an alien race 2 light years away can pick up I Love Lucy from 1960, because that radio wave, which is a wave of light, can be picked up and decoded, and you can watch I Love Lucy from 1960. And we're living in a fractal holographic matrix. That's what we're actually living in. And this whole thing is one giant energetic grid. And the thing about it is, distance is an illusion. The distance between where I am now in Florida and wherever you are right now in the world is actually, it doesn't even exist. We're local in the same location. We're still connected in the same location. Individuality, separation, all illusions, doesn't exist. There's only one entity and one consciousness providing this third dimension with the illusion of separation. If you take a planet in space, it warps space around it. And that warped space allows things to fall toward the planet. Our conscious thoughts warp the ether of space-time and create this well. And that's how the law of attraction works. Things fall toward us based on what we're warping, what we're focusing on. The energy field that we're using to warp, that's what begins to fall towards us. Whatever that frequency we're on when we're thinking, that's the warp space that's now sending back low frequency things. Or if you're in high frequency warp space, it's sending back high frequency things. You're entangled with things in the universe based on the frequency you're at. As an inexperienced soul, and begin to learn and make mistakes and grow and see what you can do, and also a certain level of suffering. And then when you begin to master this dimension, you actually can begin to incarnate on and in the plane that you desire. So plane means dimension. See, the third dimension is a proving ground. It's a testing ground. It's a place for you to come. And every ascension process, my mission is to achieve the highest, most best lifestyle, living entity, energy, help, love, expressions, artistic creation that I possibly can in every single dimension.